trying to work out the ideal e-ink combination for travel, and this is what I've settled on. I went for a few kind of ideas, iterations, one being the Kindle Scribe along with the Nova Air, and well, it's the Nova Air 2 really, but the Nova Air 1 is the one that I've got. So that's the size of Boox tablet that you need. And I think it's worth having two, but you don't really need two with a pen input, do you? The Kindle Paperwhite and the Nova Air is what I've brought with me on this holiday. I've also, of course, bought the iPad, but I say of course, but ideally I'd have brought a full laptop, so I'd have been able to access all things on Windows. But really the iPad is here just as something that we can run Netflix on for the kids when they get bored. And if I do need something with a larger screen, I've got that. Luckily, I run the Samsung Z Fold 3, and so therefore I do have quite a large screen available on Android at all times. A large OLED screen. In terms of what I've actually used, well, I've actually mainly used the Paperwhite itself for those downtime moments. But it's nice because I can actually access, well, let's say even my notes for this video on X-Tiles on the Nova Air. Not bad, eh, for a holiday location?
We were fine till you're here.
I know. That's always the way. I did think about adding the Ultra into that mix, but of course I wanted to be totally unplugged and not even think about doing emails. I do love it for drawing as well, of course, but I do still prefer traditional media, if I'm entirely honest, for drawing. So I brought a real sketchbook and some actual pencils. We don't tend to talk about this feature that much because e-ink tablets have just got so much better recently. But in fact, e-ink is still the best thing for reading in bright sunlit days like this one. And let's face it, if you're traveling, you'd hope for a few of these at least bright sunlit days. The Kindle Scribe was really high on the list, and I really thought that it would be part of an ideal travel combo because I'm really getting used to it for reading, for learning. Making not the sticky notes but the annotations and handwritten notes on it is absolutely fabulous. But if I want to read and learn, then actually the Nova Air is going to be a great platform for that. And just have a notebook that I dedicate to that bit of reading and learning as a separate thing and do half and half with Kindle on that device. Or indeed, you could be reading on the Paperwhite and making full-size notebooks on the Nova Air. Come in.
Yeah, sun on my eyes.
Yeah, we need your hat, mate. Yeah, certainly the Paperwhite size on the aeroplane, for instance. We're on an aeroplane with two young children. They're quite wriggly. Paperwhite size to put it in and out of the pocket. The Scribe would have been just too much for that. And well, yeah, I do really believe that it's important that on your holidays you don't totally detach from who you are at work. Not in terms of like completing your emails, but the holidays should be time for rest, but also learning that's going to help you in your professional life in the future. And I really thought I'd do a bit more of that on this holiday, but actually I've just downloaded it's a non-fiction, but it's definitely more of an entertainment book. Nothing whatsoever to do with my job or making videos. And that's been quite a nice thing just to detach from that. Although, you know, I've got a second week of holiday. We're going just to Norfolk for that second week. Let's see if I use the Boox device for a bit more reading and learning rather than just reading for pleasure. Let's get in the pool. Do 20, 20, 20. Remember doing 20 round yesterday? Oh! This last week I've been on a bit of a mission to find what is the best e-ink for travel. What's the best kind of e-ink combo for travel? Traveling through an airport with two very young kids recently, and that kind of surprised me actually. And I really wanted to take the Tab Ultra. I've been loving using that. But no, I don't really check my work emails when I'm out and about when I'm away from work, so make a rule of that for myself. So I didn't really need that kind of keyboard case for emails, which I think that's a great tool for communication. That's a great tool for that type of work. I really wanted to take the Tab X, of course. That's my kind of daily driver at work at the minute. I absolutely love the Tab X, by the way, and stay tuned for the full review of that coming soon. But because of that sheer size, it's a bit of a no-go, really, the Tab X. If you're traveling, you're not necessarily going to need and want that big A4 size. I really thought it was going to be the Kindle Scribe. I really thought, because I've been enjoying reading and learning on the Kindle Scribe recently, I really thought this was going to be the one that I was going to take on this holiday and sit and relax and enjoy reading some interesting stuff. And I really do believe that it's a resilient thing to do, to read something related to work when you're traveling, and actually making notes as you read and learn is a really useful thing about that Kindle Scribe. And I know you can't write directly on the actual Kindle books, and that's a lot of chat about that recently. I really like not using the sticky notes, but using the annotation feature, so you can actually highlight the text and you can just make a handwritten annotation. So I really, I was really and I thought I was going to go ahead and take the Kindle Scribe with me, but I decided against it in the end. I actually took the Nova Air 2 and I took the Kindle Paperwhite, and well, my kind of first thoughts on those, I really thought that I was going to do a bit more kind of reading, sort of professional reading. I would do that on the Nova Air, and then I also thought that I would want to do a little bit of relaxing reading, a little bit of maybe fiction, although I actually ended up reading a bit of non-fiction on here as well, but nothing to do with work, to take my mind off work as well. Although I do believe that, and I have another trip coming. It's really funny. I was mentioned traveling through the airport with young children. There's something a very clever friend of ours said recently. They said, when you're a parent of young children, you don't go on holiday, you go on trips. And that was definitely the case. And really, what came out of the bag was this Kindle Paperwhite. Just came out of the bag, and those few minutes in the port where I had a bit of downtime, or a few minutes generally, and I just read on this. I read a really excellent book about teaching young people to read, actually, The Art and Science of Primary Reading, which I very much recommend to you. Christopher Such, very well written book, very, very readable, and I'm currently reading In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, which is an absolute classic. And again, I thought that I would really think, well, this is the one for travel, this Nova Air is the one for travel, but again, I kind of overestimated how much time to focus and really make notes as I read I would get. Although, that being said, if I was only going to take one of these two, I still think it would have been the Nova Air, because you can see the size difference isn't big, and you can read Kindles, of course, on the Nova Air. So this is the Nova Air that I've got, but right now the recommendation would be the Nova Air 2, of course. Yeah, we had quite an eventful plane journey, and actually just relaxing into that ebook on the plane was something that kind of got me through it when I was feeling a bit, having a bit of a difficult time on that plane. Well, I don't want to go into any more details. You don't need any more details. I might also take the Remarkable 2 once I've got this keyboard here. I might take that with me when I go on the next part of the trip. Oh, the real winner, the absolute real winner, was actually the Kindle Kids edition. This is just the ordinary Kindle, but this happens to be the Kids edition. It's really, really good. You can buy these are buddy phones that come with it. I do have an unboxing of that, but actually this was brilliant just for my daughter being able to plug it in and listen to some books, plane, around the airport, everything, and just generally on the holiday in general, just for a bit of downtime for her where she's not just looking at a screen the whole time. So I'll be entirely honest, I haven't really found that much time for reading on this trip either, which, well, I can't say I'm really all that surprised at this point. And what little reading I have done is just been on my phone. So I think that's the thing that's surprised me here, is that actually the two things that have won this kind of, exploration of what's the best e-ink for travel is Z Fold 3, it's not an e-ink, and the kids Kindle, which has been absolutely brilliant. And I think this is the thing, especially if you're traveling, you're really tempted to read on whatever device you have to hand, and actually phones have got so good, their screens are now so big, and the inside screen of this thing is so large that, why would you, if you're just having a few minutes of downtime, reach for any other device? And I noticed my wife as well does most of her reading on her iPhone. And, well, the screens, they're all the size or bigger than of the original sort of Kindle e-readers that we had 10, 15 years ago. Oh wow, dear. I did bring the Kindle Scribe this time. I did also bring the Remarkable, just because I'm having a little look at some features and making a comparison videos of those in the future. So I did pull them out a little bit. I did also pull out the Nova Air a little bit because I was asked a couple of questions about the Onyx Boox operating system, and so I could answer those just by having a little look. But I didn't spend much time actually reading on them. So what is the winner? Well, again, if I was one e-ink to travel with, it would be the Nova Air. But there's a couple of kind of sleeper options that I haven't tried myself. although my mum does have one of these. The Kindle Oasis is of course waterproof, so that could be a fabulous device for travelling. And well, I can't wait to try the Boox Scribe Wave, because that also is a waterproof device, so that will be an interesting one to put into this kind of comparison as which is the best for travelling. But what would be my dream tablet, my dream device for travelling, would actually be a phone with an OLED screen and an e-ink screen. And some companies have tried this already. They don't seem to have sold all that well because they haven't been made for the last sort of 5 years. But actually this folding device, this folding format, could be really, really well suited to an OLED screen on the outside. Just make it not quite as thin as this screen, which is a difficult screen to do anything on really, the front screen of the Z Fold 3, but make it a little bit chunkier, a little bit less of a long format, so you can actually use normal apps on that front OLED screen, and then open out into a glorious large size e-ink panel inside with that Paperwhite feeling that we're used to, that sort of size. Absolutely fabulous. And then you've got the best of both worlds in your pocket at all times. That's what I want to see, please. I'm certain somebody can make that device. And would it sell well? Well, they definitely have one buyer from me, and pop it in the comments, let me know if they'd have any other buyers. So yeah, that's been the surprise of this trip, is that the thing you end up using is of course the thing that you have with you. And that's making me think that perhaps these Hisense phones, these e-ink phones, are really quite compelling. I wonder why they haven't done so well in the market and why they've not got much further beyond the kind of Chinese market. I think you can buy them in the States but not in the United Kingdom. Is that something that you have? Have you tried one of these Hisense phones? I'd really love to hear about that in the comments. And Hisense, if you're listening, I'd really love to try one out based on this. If you have an e-ink phone in your pocket, maybe that's the thing you're going to use. But I certainly think if you're traveling with your family, or if you're going to be very busy and you're looking to be reading in those small snippets of time, then you are going to rely on what's in your pocket. And that's why I think that having two screens on phones with these folding phones, having one of them being an OLED screen so you can use videos, you can use all the apps the way they're intended, and having one of them be an e-ink screen so you can get the benefits of that, and importantly the benefits of the battery life as well, because if I use that big screen in the middle of my phone, then it doesn't last all day. And then I suppose this is what Hisense are thinking with their Link that they've brought to market, this phone Link thing, which is just a screen which can either communicate by Wi-Fi or by wire. But are you really wanting to carry around another phone size thing? So I think for two screens on a phone, make one of them e-ink and make one of them OLED, and that could be a perfect device. For me at least, for travelling. Have I really enjoyed the Kindle Paperwhite though on this holiday? Yes, I have. Have I really enjoyed having the Nova Air on this holiday? Yes, I have as well. And in fact, e-ink is fabulous. And so any device that fits with your travel, any e-ink device is going to be a fabulous asset to have with you on your travels. Just don't expect to get a lot of time for reading if you're travelling with your family. And in fact, being mindful that you're not going to have that opportunity and just really enjoying the time with your family, enjoying the time with people, is a really good thing to do. It's a really resilient thing for a professional to do as well.